back to the Breeze Shooter Show.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining the Breeze Shooter Show today. This is the ride along. We have an hour full of comedy. We have two comedians in the house. Today we have a special in studio guest. We have stand-up comedian Trina Alper. Am I saying that right? Alper, aka Julo. J-Lo's gonna want some checks off that. She's a New York City comic, Bronx native. In addition to performing throughout the city, she produces and hosts multiple shows in Brooklyn and Manhattan. She is a co-host and co-creator of the Tres
Benches.
You got it. You got it.
I practiced it before I got here.
Tina, introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, hey everybody, this is Trina Alper, and I produce a bunch of shows throughout the city. I perform on a bunch of shows throughout the city. If you would like to keep up, well, my mom's family is Cortez, so I always say if you want to keep up with the Cortezians, follow me on Instagram at Julo, JEW_LO.
Julo from the block. Hi. All right. My name is, well, it's actually Esteban Romero. Yeah, I'm going government. I don't know why. But, yeah, my nickname is Tino because I'm a black Latino, and, so I just kept Tino. I started on as N-word Tino, so I had to drop the N-word because, you know who runs comedy. So, sorry,
No, it's fine. So you told us, you said the first, so once you get through that initial, breakthrough point, then what are you doing from there? Are you going like to comedy school, or are you getting some type of formal training, or it's just, hey, we're gonna wing this and we see where it takes us?
So I was winging it, and I had, and it's because I didn't know how the game worked, and I didn't have a network, and so I had a really, really slow start. So the dude who booked me on his first show, his name's Victor, and he's a good friend. He ended up becoming, we went to high school together also, but then we reconnected, ended up being good friends. So I didn't know about open mics. I didn't know that, and so I didn't go and I didn't do them, and apparently that's like where you meet your class and like you come up together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I never had that, so I would do a show, and if someone else who was on that show also produced, then they would hit me up to do. So I was just doing shows,
wow.
but it was like quarterly, but it was literally like every 3 or 4 months for like years.
Wow.
And then I finally, in 2018, I met this comedian, Jared Waters.
Hey, my man Jared, yes,
Mr. Turbo.
Jared, wow.
Yeah, Turbo.
Look at that. The circuit is so good.
Yeah, I just spoke to him yesterday.
He is the best.
Yes,
He is
agreed.
the best.
He's the connect guy to get you into the clubs? Okay.
Well, not into the clubs. He just connects people. And so he was like, yo, I have a homegirl from North Carolina. Well, she's from the Bronx, lives in North Carolina, started comedy in North Carolina, but she's moving back up to New York. Y'all should get up with each other. And that was Shadi Diaz.
Oh, Shadi, big ups to Shadi. God bless her heart.
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's a roll call. I get emotional. I know these people. Go ahead.
So then when I met Shadi, it was like, she's from Kingsbridge. We grew up 10 minutes from each other, never knew each other our whole lives. Grew up, we're both Latina, she's Guatemalan. And we're both comedians, and so she already knew Jessica Clayton, this other comic. So she introduces me and Jess, and the three of us started Tres Bitches podcast.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're one of the best.
I'm a bitch. I'm a bitch.
I was gonna say lech.
Yeah.
But yeah, bitch or lech.
I am a bitch.
Wow.
And then I finally had there was always camaraderie in the scene, but I never had damn, I don't want nobody to feel wrong about this, but it wasn't like friendship. I didn't have comics that I spoke to on the phone, or who knew my life. I didn't have homegirls, and so we became homegirls, and our networks tripled because we knew some overlapping people, but me, Jess, and Shadi had three. I was in the Westchester circuit, OB, and so our networks just tripled. We would go with each other to our shows, and it was that's when it really exploded. That's when my foot got on the gas.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask, why was that initially? Are women threatened? Is it real competitive? Where you kind of...
I wouldn't say so. I think I just I literally didn't understand how the scene works, so I wasn't around. Where it's just I didn't know that I could go down to the Grizzly Pear and there were 6 fucking shows a night. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know, but because every person who I've met since I started being out, you know where I met Jared? It was at PD Diabru where he had the Better Days show.
Big ups to PD.
Big ups to PD,
Wow.
yeah.
PD's world.
Yeah. But I got cool with PD, and so then I started going to the Better Days show. And honestly, I would just pull up Zolo, eat, you know, like everyone knew each other, and sometimes it gets a little weird, but for them, I just
sometimes
believe the best intentions. So like,
right.
They're not mean, they're just busy.
Yeah.
You know, like I try to be sweet to everybody.
Yeah. That wears off.
Yeah. And I went outside for a cigarette. I was just having this conversation. People are like, when are you gonna quit smoking? I have met I have been in the right time at the right place because I was outside having a cigarette.
Wow.
And that's what happened. That's how I met Jared.
See? Wow,
So,
look at that.
people weren't mean. I just literally didn't understand that you need to hang out.
You didn't pick up Judy Carter's book or anything, any kind of those startup books?
No.
You were just a natural, where's the stage? I got this.
Well, yeah.
Well, if you go back to high school, she said that everybody was pretty much a class clown, so that was her stage.
Okay.
She was starting
the world's my stage, but
going and hanging out at more shows, then I got to see killers, and I'm like, oh, then I learned about cadence, then I learned about being lean, like not leaving meat on the bone, but also trimming the fat, and like watching through observation was when I was like, oh, this is what I need to. Not that I need to perform how you perform. But this is how you like fucking keep people looking at the left and then boom with the right, and it's like ah.
It's funny you say that because Patrice O'Neill, before he passed, he would always talk about how they had a little group over there at the cellar, and they would always go, but it was like they were all cool off the set, but they would roast each other, and what that does, it just develops a tough skin, and you go up there and you start, really mastering your craft. Staying there for a second, how do you come up with your material? Like, how do you compose it? Is there a process that you go through? Share, please.
In the beginning, I was writing nonstop.
Okay.
And it was because I had so much to say, because I had all these thoughts all these years. And my notepad, so that was like in an actual book. Then I kind of moved to my notepad. And then kind of like, unfortunately, I would say, I kind of just stopped writing entirely. And like, I have, from the pandemic, I have a new, like anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes that like doesn't exist on paper, it only exists in my head, which is not good. Because there are things that, for me it's not good, because there's stuff that I look back at my notepad from a couple years ago and I'm like, oh, that shit was very funny. And I never, I wonder if sometimes I forgot something that would have, but I voice record everything. So, but then you never listen back to it, so I'm like, fuck.
You're a move on the material kind of girl.
Exactly.
Like, I had 3 thoughts yesterday, I haven't even said.
Yeah.
That's a blessing and a curse. For someone who's been doing it for 17 years, you know what I mean? Like,
wow, that's...
Yeah. I mean, not straight, you know what I mean? I got kids.
No, I feel it.
Yeah, but like, I just felt like not being able to hone in on a set that everyone could know affected me, because it was like kind of like, I'm funny in the moment, yeah, why you got right here? And then it's like, what's your set? You know what I mean? What are people gonna know you for? You know what I mean? Like, because comedians are known for jokes.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're not, if no one is repeating your joke, because sometimes they don't know our names. They're like, the comedian that talks about, about being moreno. Who's that? You know what I mean? Yeah, he was black, but he was moreno. You know what I mean? They'll remember quicker a joke than that person's name. That's why.
And when you have a class, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I've learned so much more in the past few years, even with COVID. Like, kind of shutting shit down for a little bit. It's like I've learned so much more since 2018 than I have in the decade that I've technically been doing it, because, like, at first I was just like, yo, if I'm around the same people all the time, like, I'm telling the same jokes, that shit is whack. And it's like, no, that's not whack, that's your fucking set.
That's your set.
And now I get it, where there's been times where, like, fucking around and joking around. Yo, it even happened, Jared had, something came up that he couldn't make it to one of the shows that he hosts, Training Day. So JC Mendoza, who's hilarious, was guest hosting, and he was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna do Jared's set.
Oh no.
But it's like, and he did it, obviously he did it, but what's funny is that we could, like, when you have your class, and y'all, we hear it so much because, and then we can say like, oh shit, you changed that one part, what a difference it made. Like, it's just dope to grow with people.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, like, staying there, so after you're writing down, like, this material and you take it to the clubs and you're working it, when do you know, like, hey, this is something I'm going to use, this is going to be part of my permanent set? Or, like, do you ever not experience that? I'm pretty sure there has to be, like, well, this is rocking, I'm going to find a way to use this on my set all the time. So, like, you know.
Yeah, if it's rocking, then if you know it hits in every room, there's some stuff that hits in every fucking room. And then there's stuff that it's like, that's why a lot of times, you know, comedians don't shut the fuck up. So most comedians don't shut the fuck up. So a lot of times when you're at a show and you see your friends, people want to BS in the back of the room. I like to watch the show that I'm on because I want to see what the audience is responding to. If someone's going like super dark and they're responding to that, then I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm with some demented motherfuckers, like, let's get weird. But if they're more about like sex stuff, or if they're like, you can kind of get what they're,
you gauge it.
You can gauge it. But yeah, there's some rooms that just don't get it. Like, I have a whole set about, or a whole bit about, like, I call it Bible on the Block, where it's like, I started Bible study in lockdown because my homegirl's dad is a pastor and like whatever. And every week that we come back to Bible study, the woman leading it would ask me to like do the recap from last week. Because I'm like, so boom, so Samuel was in the temple, and like, and so that's Bible on the Block. There are rooms, and it's not to say anything about anyone, but it's like, I'm not going to do that set in this neighborhood per se, well maybe not this neighborhood, but like in Bushwick, in a room that's very transplant and in their early 20s, they're gonna be like, okay, it's funny on its face, but it's not gonna hit the way I did that shit in Harlem, where the Bronx is half Harlem, I mean the audience was half Harlem, half the Bronx, my age and better, I'm 35, deceivingly so. So like my age or older, like they were, when I tell you, like stomping on the fucking floor, because all of us had to know this shit against our will, and like shit hits different with different audiences, so that's why I like to gauge, like, well, who's the audience?
Right. All right, that's it. Okay.
No, but it's crazy, so that means you gotta go with a couple of bags of tricks, so like, all right, man, I'm gonna go dip here, or...
That's why I wanted to say something, because the best remedy for that is just being yourself.
Exactly.
So you don't have to like always, because there's gonna be shows where you're gonna get there late, you have no time to gauge what's happening. So the quicker you can get into your skin and just kind of be like, you know, bring them into your world no matter what.
Right.
That's the best thing, because you could psych yourself out trying to like be scientific about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just tell your story. You know what I mean? And they're gonna love it. They're gonna love it.
Right.
If you tell your story, it's about connecting.
That's why I have a really good friend who told me, and he would come, so he came to that very first show, and he would come to a lot of my shows. I started producing actually, so I have a monthly show, not too far, at Crystal Lake in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg. So the bar has, first of all, it's a dope bar, dope owners, like they're just, not just because of how they treat us in the show, but because of how they are with the neighborhood, they're ill. And they have this beautiful back room. We've been running a monthly there, me and Joe Miles, a comic from Cleveland. And so we've been running the show, and my homeboy JD comes to a lot of them, and he can tell me after my set what was written and what was a riff. He knows it because he goes, when you riff, that's your best shit. When you are most yourself, when you're just like, oh shit, this just came to me.
Right.
He's like, that's your funniest shit when you're you. And
Exactly.
Like without thinking or overthinking.
But that's crazy because you really can't control that. That's like gold right there, but it's, I guess it's in the moment, the vibe that you're getting from the crowd, and it kind of hits you. You know what, let me go with this, and just boom.
Yeah.
In the moment, comedy is the best.
Then you voice record, exactly.
Yeah. You see, like, this is a keeper. Because it's like, you know, because then you try to relive that moment, you know what I mean? Because the same factors are not going to be there. So that's why you try, like, okay, that was funny when I did it there, but now you have to take it, like, from scratch, so people that had no, because sometimes it's just what's happening in the room that gets you like that loud, like, oh my God, you know, and then you take it, you ever try to joke one place and then another place is like, oh, okay, it wasn't that funny, you know what I mean? It was just because I was in the, you know,
it was the moment.
It was the moment, it was the moment is key. So, the quicker you just have fun and get into your comfortable in your skin, the better things will go. In my opinion, you know what I mean?
For sure.
17-year bet.
I mean, ooh. I'm trying to go to the next open mic. That's how where it's going.
But that's what they do say about comics. When it's in your blood, it's like you don't stop. And the open mic, you're just in there, you're trying, you're working material. But going back to your podcast, what's your podcast about? Like, when does it air? When can folks listen to you, and where can they catch it?
So we are, thank you for that, and maybe I'm a dick for mentioning it. So we're on a bit of a hiatus at this moment. So, life, you really can't control what life throws at you, and so we each had to have a moment for ourselves for different reasons. So we are on a hiatus. Hopefully we get back soon because it's ill. So it is called Tres Veces. It's a play on Tres Leches.
We know.
And for everyone listening who maybe didn't catch it. So it used to drop on Mondays, and so it's me, Jess, and Shadi, and we talk about so much different shit. Like, for the most part, I would say it's like mental health and dating, I would say, and comedy, mental health, dating, and comedy. So we'll talk about like, something that had like frustrating sets or like some fucked up shit that happened at a show or good stuff. We'll talk about, we've all been single at some point in the podcast, and so we like love and lost and hinge, love, lost, and like rapid fire dating.
Can I get that copy?
Yeah, listen, it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like all that stuff.
Tres bitches.
Tres bitches.
I said bitches.
Yeah.
Can I just say three B words?
Can
I say B words?
You know what's hilarious? There's some comics that I'm just like, yo, were you just waiting for a moment? Because, like, when they bring you up at a show, they're like, oh, what do you want me to say? And I'll be like, oh, tres bitches. And these are dudes who, like, know me. And they'll be like, your next comic coming to the stage, she has a podcast, Trace Bitches. And I'm like, yo, you was holding that bitches for a while. Like, did I do something? Like,
I messed up your name, right? I brought you up wrong. I did something wrong.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, that was...
So, in addition to that, I know, so you're in hiatus with the podcast, but you had mentioned that you produced some other shows as well. What are some of the shows that you produced?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming up. Thank God, blessings. So the middle Thursday, which is like what Thursday is, that depends on the month. So listen, first and foremost, please follow me. If anyone cares, follow me on Instagram. My IG is JEW_LO, Julo. _low.
I get this.
Yeah. It's a brand.
You're the other Jenny, huh?
Exactly.
Julo from the block.
She's Catskill Hill. I'm so that's mixed kids. And so we always say, like, me and Joe Miles, like we say, my mom's Puerto Rican, his mom's black, both our dads are Jewish, we're pretty sure it's not the same guy. We're not 100% on it, but we're pretty sure it's not the same guy. So that's mixed kids, and that's a monthly show.
Okay.
Now coming up this month for February, I'm gonna start producing every other week at the Stand.
Okay.
At NYC, yeah.
Oh,
So that's in
nice.
Union Square, yeah.
Good for you. That's a good gig.
So it's a bi-weekly show, and it's called Venti Comedy. So this actually was a show that Jessica Clayton created late spring of 21, like around April of 21. Where,
Venti, like the coffee?
Exactly.
Like, okay.
So it's that instead of having these shows where it's like 5 or 6 comics, 8 minutes each, what Jess Clayton did is she recognized a need for the comics in our class. Most of us have like easily a half hour. We have nowhere to run it. So Venti is only 3 comics for 20 minutes. Each comic is 20 minutes.
Wow.
So
you don't get that in New York City. Wow.
You don't get that in New York. Even a lot of club spots, you don't get
I'm
that.
like,
Unless you're like headlining, right?
Yeah, I know.
You get to like swing your dick.
Yeah.
Work out. Yeah.
I don't have one to swing, but I get it. I get it. That's for another show, right?
Yeah. That's after hours.
So like I said, when the summer came, we kind of all had to like take a step back for a moment. So when I was stepping back into stuff, I was talking to Jess about this opportunity to host a show at the Stand. And we were talking about like, wanting something that was different. And she straight up was just like, yo, if you want Venti, take it, girl. Like, I got you. And this is what I'm saying about like camaraderie and like, you know, and she's just like, you know, I'm not looking to do anything with it anytime soon.
Right.
If I am, we'll talk. But for now, take it to the club.
Wow. Dope.
So that's February 10th and February 24th. Please help me sell this out, guys.
Yeah.
And then me and Shadi Diaz on Saturday the 19th, so a monthly show also at the Stand. Shadi and I are co-hosting together and co-producing, and it's called Can't Stand Ya. And that's more of the same format, like because it's both of us hosting, I think we're only booking like 4 comics a month.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So.
Sounds like a scorned,
Yeah, I know.
scorned woman show. No.
No.
No, okay.
But it looks like February is really jumping for you. That's good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And going forward, hopefully, if we keep selling tickets, they'll keep
No,
giving
yeah.
us the show. So.
Well, guys, get her tickets. Purchase the
Absolutely.
tickets. You
Out
know.
there support. Do you find that most of the support that you get is from other females in the industry? No?
I'd say it's even.
It's even?
I
Okay.
would honestly say it's even. And there's something about our class that even people in other classes, like older classes or higher class, I don't know how you would say it, there are people that have said it to other people in our class that are just like, yo, y'all, you know what's the difference between your guys' class is that y'all actually love each other.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot
Love
of
and respect?
There's a lot of
No,
love.
no funny stuff. No
No
hanky
funny
panky. No.
Oh, I don't know about
I
that.
don't know about that.
She's like, I can't speak for everybody.
I can't speak for Sharia, but
No, I can speak for her, and I'm gonna let you know right now, nah. There's no, we don't shit where we don't shit
all
where
right.
we.
The tres veces, not the tres bochinches.
No,
Exactly,
All right.
exactly. But yeah, it's just like there's so much love between us that it's just like there's really no one who's like a fucking weirdo. Like there's other people in other classes, higher and lower, that it's just like, what the fuck is doing this person? Like why are you mad all the time? Like you're supposed to make people laugh. But with us, no, it's the same support.
Could it be the absence of hazing for your class? Whereas in the other classes, I think they had to go through like a hazing process before they were accepted.
Maybe.
Because I would be bitter too if you're the last guy, you don't get to haze anybody, and everybody's just
Right.
running amok with you.
Or maybe, honestly, or maybe I'm oblivious. Because I've made that comment before where I'm just like, yo, like, everybody's so good to each other. And other comments are just like, nah, bitch. And I'm like, well, I love everyone. Like, everyone's nice to me.
You're like, she's high.
Yeah, right. I'm also, like,
She's happy.
I'm also like singing in my head, like having a cigarette outside, like singing Danny Kane for no reason. It's like 15 years later.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Hey,
Um,
whatever works for you, you know what I mean? Stay-
Absolutely.
Yeah. stay-
Ignorance is bliss.
yes.
And I'm so happy.
No, exactly. Listen, it's better to be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Tell us about some funny moments while you were performing. You have any heckler stories or anything funny, or funny people that you work with? Any funny stories that you could share? What's your go-to? You gotta have a go-to story.
I don't have a lot of heckler moments because I don't. It's not to say. So first of all, I don't do a lot of crowd work. It's not to say I don't do any, but I don't do a lot. But then also to maintain control of the room, it's kind of like whatever that person says in the audience.
Yeah.
I'm like, word, you right. That's what's up. Like I'm never like, what the fuck are you wearing? Like, oh, what do you do for a living, you fucking loser? Like,
you don't go at them.
I do not. I'm like, are you? When I see it, I'm like, yo, God bless. Everyone has their own style, but you're fucking crazy. Like, you want these people to keep coming back to your shows. Why you need to like keep like a live audience? Like, why are you doing that? So I guess,
Better comics, comics have reason.
oh, actually, I do have a crazy ass story.
I know you do.
But it wasn't because of me, and it was not a heckler. I don't know what was up with this dude. So I don't know if I should say the name, but I'm at a club, and I'm sitting in the back of the room. I was on that show, and I'm waiting to go up, and the comic who's up in the front. This is a place where there's a bar in the front and a room in the back. This will narrow it down if you know, but I'm not going to say the name. There's a bar in the front and there's like a long catwalk to the stage in the back room, and some guy, and I'm sitting right at the back by the curtain, and this guy walks, and in the middle, not even in the middle of a show, in the middle of like a word that the comic is speaking, walks right up to the front, and to the entire audience, this guy is like, yo, does anybody got Cash App?
No.
And I'm like, now the audience never knows if if this is like
Part of
it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And the comedian on stage, and the dude's cool, and the comedian on stage is looking and he's like, what? Like, and
You
so
should have been like, I do it. Go there. Zal.
Cuchifrito 1, 2, 3.
And so the comedian on stage is like, okay, whatever, and like tries to keep talking. And then the guy is like, yo, no, so nobody has Cash App, really? Nobody has Cash App? And then the comedian is like, and now this is where pretty is a privilege. Because if it's a dude comic on stage, then there's like the alpha. It escalates, and I've seen a lot of shit in my life where things escalate for no reason, just because dudes are like, well, my dick is bigger, no, my dick is bigger, and then someone gets shot. So, like, why? Let's not do this. So I'm like, and now mind you, I'm like, where the fuck is security? This club has security, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I stand up in the back of the room, and I'm like, yo, I have Cash App, come here.
Oh, that was nice of you.
And he was like, oh, okay, like, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, no, come to the front with me, So I keep...
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You ran out the bar and went around the block.
Well, no, once I got into, like, past the bathroom, like, once I got into the bar, I was like, yo, are you good? Like, are you saucy right now? Like, are you okay? Are you in your mind? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, you can't do that shit. You can't, there's a show. I don't know if you understand. You can't do that shit. And he's like, oh, okay, like, well, anyway, like, and tried to still do the Cash App. I'm like, I'm not fucking Cash App. Get the fuck out of here.
I have a message for you. That's all. It's more important than Cash App.
Well, the way it was probably stressing you as a 2-drink minimum. Pay for him.
That's a one of a kind there. Like, wow.
That's real ballsy.
Yeah. Anybody got the host? Is this somebody get control here? You know, like, hello.
But I'm trying to think in terms of anything else. Honestly, thank God I haven't seen too much like crazy wild shit in the shows.
Oh, okay. You need to get out more then.
Yeah, I need to go to
get out more.
different rooms, maybe.
Yeah, different rooms.
Tell her when you're gonna be out.
Huh?
Tell her when you're gonna be performing.
Yeah.
Something's always happening.
Yeah, definitely. Come to myself. There's always something going on.
It's funny. Speaking of T right here, I saw him online, right, and he did like a little skit. And he's like sitting on a bed, and these beautiful women are dressed in bathing suits. And he's like, he catches a heart attack. He falls to the ground.
Daddy, that's not all. You can touch a little bit, Daddy. This is it. This is sweet, isn't it?
I'm at home laughing, so I put the laughing emojis. Next thing you know, somebody in the chat goes, "Yo, dude, that's what's wrong with society. You know, people are dying and other people are laughing." No, but after that moment, I felt so fucked up. I never considered that. I consider if it's online, it's funny, and the guy's good. Fast forward like 7-8 months, we have a mutual friend, Willie Sweets. Yeah. Willie Sweets is doing a skit with him, and he's a homeless guy in the street, and I think he steals something, and he's running on the block. I go, that's the fucking guy! And I wanted to go in the chat. Yo, I'm so happy you're alive. I felt like a real asshole for like 3-4 months.
Unfortunately, that's one of my shticks. You know, heart attack, bomb, sugar daddy. So I could catch either one in any given skit. So. Yeah, that was fun. Those ladies have not seen it again.
God.
Yeah. I can't afford them. I mean, I don't know how the guy that got them there. But I appreciate it because they disappear. These women disappear. Like,
how many takes? About 100 takes? I'm gonna do it again. I can do much better.
We kept them there for a while.
But with comedy now, like the way Good Night Crew, like a lot of people doing like the sketch comedy online. Are you for that or are you against it? Do you do it yourself? Because I kind of see you look like you kind of play with it with the bodega reviews.
Yeah.
But like, are you like you like it?
I would like to try it. I would like to fuck with it. I would definitely fuck with it. I say get it how you live it. Because listen, and this is the thing about it. And this is, if there's no other takeaway from today, it is. Not stay in your lane, like put yourself in a box, but it is so important to recognize what is for you and what may not be for you. Gotcha. Because there are people who are brilliant on these on like social media platforms and with the skits and stuff like that maybe they are just good at being that vessel, and they may not like have writing chops, or
Yeah.
they might just like, you know, sometimes you get on stage and your brain goes blank, and like, so just because you could do one doesn't mean you can do the other. Some people can do everything. I'm not trying to put limitations. All I'm saying is like, how do they say, some things in life are like a fart. If you have to push it, it's probably shit, right? And so for me, like, I would try it knowing that, like, even if it's great and even, or rather, even if it's terrible, like, then that's okay, because I know I'm for stand-up. Like, I know stand-up is for me, but I would like to try the skits.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun.
You should. I think you would be good.
I know a few people you can speak to about.
Yeah.
So,
No bikinis.
no,
No bikinis.
All
10
right.
years ago, not now.
Yeah. You're not gonna make it to this. I already had like 10 skits for you. No, I just got one.
That is funny. So who are some females that you look up to in the industry that are doing stand-up right now?
That are doing stand-up right now.
Or could have been in the past, like, you know, maybe some folks that motivated you.
I mean, Joan Rivers is, you know, sometimes the king is a woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Joan Rivers, Fran Drescher is my bitch. I love Fran Drescher. Like, and that's
Even that voice.
even that voice, and that's a good instance of like her stand-up is fine. I'm like, okay, I'll watch her stand-up. But her as
Is that the
a comedic
nanny?
actress,
The
exactly.
nanny, yeah.
But her as a comedic actress is like, fuck.
Yeah.
And it's not to say, that's what I'm saying, you don't need to put limitations. It's not to say she shouldn't do stand-up, but it's like, if you're good enough and you have fun, then live your life. But your really bread and butter, like what makes you iconic is like the comedic actress, you know? Currently, listen, I'm surrounded, I would say, I don't want to start naming names, because then if I forget somebody, but
How about somebody in your neck of the woods, Gina Brio?
Gina Brio, yeah.
We had her on the show once. She was very funny, man.
Yeah.
Extremely.
She was doing her
Bronx
thing.
girl.
Congrats
And
to
she,
her.
and she got stupid far on America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really exciting. And I mean, again, yeah, I don't want to like start it.
It's cool. It's cool.
Because it's gonna get
No,
hectic.
it's
It's
cool.
gonna get
Big ups to all my female comrades in the game.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
I would say, obviously I've already shouted out like Shadi Diaz and Jess Clayton. I would say like some women to watch for sure. And if you don't follow them, like look them up. Definitely my girl Courtney B.
Okay.
Courtney Bledsoe
Courtney.
and Courtney B is hilarious.
Yeah,
JJ
yeah.
Matisse,
Oh,
Laura
yeah.
Yaya, Electra Tellisford. I'm trying to think. That's
Those
what
are-
I'm saying.
those are
Like I
black female
started.
comedians.
Onika McLean.
Yeah.
Well, these are the close and personals. Like, I'm a little biased. These are like who I'm DMing.
These are your girls.
It's like
Yeah,
Jessica
yeah.
Gay almost. Like,
Anybody white?
well, Jess Clayton does represent
Ah,
four
okay,
whites
okay.
from Baltimore. Oh yes.
That's what she said, Baltimore.
Yeah, it was right. Well, she's from Baltimore.
I know.
Yo, the first
It's
time.
just funny you said the four whites from Baltimore.
Well, when we went out the first time, I was just like, oh, she's from Baltimore for real. Like when she started dancing, I was like, oh, get white, Jess Clayton, get her. Okay, well, let's see. Oh, Riley Lasson, my Jewish.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
she's
big ups to
Latin
her.
leader. Yeah, Riley Lasson
Yeah,
is
she's
my
funny.
boo. Okay, and so many others.
No,
So,
There you go.
Listen.
so
If she didn't mention you, you're the others.
Amina Amadi as well.
Oh,
Amina,
yeah,
I've
Amina,
known
big
her
ups
for
to
a
her,
long
yeah.
time.
Trina, I'll give you one thing. You're very PC. Like, let me come here.
Yeah, don't cancel me.
I don't want to leave nobody out. You know?
Like they have shows, and they can go, what's the branches? Never mind. I'm not gonna try to mess with that word. I've been slapped for that word.
Betcha?
Betches.
Betches.
I
I was sweating.
You thought somebody else?
I did.
So you
I
saw the
was
copy,
like,
yeah.
no, but that's what I'm saying. With where does it end? Luz Michelle is another one I've been friends with a long time from Westchester. She's good. Regina DeChico. Do you know Regina? And Sarah Panastracci. Yeah.
No, the only reason I ask you the question is because sometimes comics will come on here and they'll say, oh, it was this person. I went back and saw their tape 1,000 times. Like Laz, we had him on, he said Eddie Murphy. He would just keep on looking at Raw over and over and over. And that pretty much kind of like helped him, not really helped him, but pushed him to get started in the comedy. So that's the only reason I asked you. I didn't know if you had somebody that you looked up to that did that for you.
It was kind of everyone. You know, like I said, I watched SNL, but I also watched Seinfeld as a kid. And in the earlier Seinfelds, it would show clips of him in the club. And then when he was like, I'm telling you for the last time, and all that stuff, I was young enough that I was like, and then I went to one of those Laughing Buddha classes. It was a free workshop. But I went and someone's talked about the accordion method, and that's what Jerry Seinfeld does, where for an accordion to make a sound, you like open it up this big, and then you push down. And so it's the same with a joke, where it's like if I want to write a joke about this cup, I'm gonna open the accordion. I'm gonna write everything I see, everything I notice, every thought that comes to my head, but not even funny about this cup. And then the accordion the joke is pushing that accordion back down.
Wow.
Gotcha.
And that's what Seinfeld does. So
Awesome analogy.
he's a master for sure.
He is a master.
Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
No, listen, man. Thank you both for joining us today. Really good show. I really appreciate it, and thank you for dealing with all the technical difficulties. But I'm glad you guys made it, and I wish you guys the best. Make sure you go out there and support them.
Yeah.
February, Trina is going to be popping. Make sure you go on the IG page to see what's going to be happening, what she has going on, and
follow me on Pandemoniums on Instagram. All my information is there. I have a big show happening February 12th, and Hulu and Roku. So please support me on that. And find the information on Pandemoniums. Thank you very much.
Hey, and lastly, before I let you go, make sure to hit us up on Breeze Shooters on IG. Check us on YouTube, Facebook page. And if you have a business that you want to advertise, please reach out to us at breezeshooters@yahoo.com. And with that being said, take care, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Take care.